arguing about a system is never going to work. What we need to do is just build one that works for people. That's what it is. Because grocery stores already took this role. They are middlemen. There are people in the community that want to buy food. There are people in the community that sell food, and somebody connects the two of them. Right now, that's a grocery store. That's a corporate grocery store. And they don't care about their customers. That's the crazy part, is that we can beat them. We can beat corporations every single time because we care about our customers. We care about the people that's serving us. So this is what we need to understand, is that we are never going to get a million people to agree or to drop out of the system. A system doesn't collapse because people fight against it. A system collapses because something better comes along. And so that's what we're doing. We're building something better. That's it. Because essentially, two people with different politics can make the same exact choice: buy one item locally. There's no arguing needed. There's no convincing. You don't need to explain to them why the system is screwing them over. You just offer a better option. Rather than buying your food and your vegetables from a grocery store and a corporation that does not care about you at all. And then that's what people get caught up in, right? Is even though the majority of people, we know that people are voting against their own interests. Well, even if we know that they have, education has been gutted for the last 30 years, that people vote against their own interest, right? But it doesn't matter, because the funny part is all you need is to get them to drop out of the system. So simply because they don't think the same as you, you're not going to still get them to drop out, because they don't want to use this system either. They just don't have any alternative. But because they're products of their society, because they're angry about the exact same things you are angry about, right? But because they got lied to, because they got manipulated, because they got tricked, we're just never going to talk to them again. Or maybe because they gave in to propaganda so bad and they believed all the bull crap. Maybe if you tell them the truth in a way that isn't judgmental, that they would come back. So what we're talking about is, why don't Americans have enough money anymore? Well, it's because those corporations that control everything that we need to live, they do not care about us. They've locked us in economically. They've figured out that if we don't have any money, we don't have any power. Truth. If we don't have any leverage, we don't have any money, we don't have any power. Because the only real power you have, it's freedom of choice, right? It's the ability to say yes and purchase something, or it's the ability to say no. Because so many of us can't say no when the boss asks us to work for 10 days in a row, when we are unable to make ends meet, and we ask for a raise and they're like, no, and there's nothing we can do about it because we don't have any leverage. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some leverage. Well, Luke, that's where we have a document that we are going to be showing people that we are very excited about, because we think a small business revolution is the way that this can be changed. We need 1 million small businesses serving 50 people each. And that's how we get 50 million people to leave the system, not by convincing them that the current one is broken, but by building something better. Because we can sit there and we can act like We want to convince people and fight through and make sure that they completely understand us. But I think we all know that humans don't get convinced by moral arguments, right? People don't sit there and are like, oh, this is what's happening. Oh, great point. The system doesn't work for me. No, they do things out of habit. People stay with the things that they've always known, not because they sit there and reevaluate their choices, but because that's the way that humans are. You stick with what is known. Well, Luke, that's where we're not trying to change people's minds. What we're saying is start a small business. Because when two people both hate corporations and they actually have an option from a local food distributor helping them figure out, how can I get connected locally with a farmer? Because then two people with completely different politics can make the exact same move. They're both dropping out of the system. They are both not supporting corporations, but there ain't no arguing. There ain't no convincing. You don't need to have a conversation about left versus right and Biden and Hillary and Trump and all that bullshit that's designed to get us at each other's throats. That's fine, Keebler. You'll see it one day because you might think that you're thriving, but you don't control any of your medicine. Some corporation that doesn't care about you controls your medicine. You might think you're thriving until you need that health care, until you need that health procedure that your insurance company doesn't want to cover. And you're like, wait, I've paid you $10,000 a year for the last 5 years. This procedure is only $30,000. It'll save my life. And they'll say, nope. How thriving will you be then? What if one of your parents needs health care, huh? And they tell you, nope, we're not covering it. What if you've got medicine that you can't afford? What if your insurance stops covering it and you got to pay $100,000 a year just for medicine? Are you still thriving then? Or is the fact that corporations that control everything that we need to live bad for all of us? Because those corporations are incentivized to screw us over. And if you think just everybody else getting screwed over is only their problem, well, when you get rid of all the guardrails against the corporations screwing everybody else over, well, one day they'll come for you too. Whether it be your health care or your health insurance, whether it be your ability to purchase quality food. I mean, you most likely drive in a car that you didn't build with gasoline that you didn't create. And they could cut you off from that at any time. Oh, but you're thriving. So the way that we get people to change is not by sitting there and convincing them. We get people to change by offering a better option. And it's so funny. It's not about left versus right, anything like that. It's about up versus down, recognizing that they control us and we need to reduce their control if we are ever going to have any power. So that means working with people that might not think exactly the way you think. You might have to hold your nose and go, well, hey, I built this whole thing. Whether that person is wearing a blue hat or a red hat, they're still not buying from a corporation. Every single product somebody would get from a local food distributor is at least one product that they no longer get from the system. One little piece of reliance, because the less we rely on the system, the more power we have. That's what it is. And there's what they want you to think, right? Because what they do is they've got control of the economy, but then they control the media and they also control the political process. And some people see that January 20th. Some people see that and they lose all hope. Well, Lloyd, I feel bad for you because there is a lot of hope left because it's not that hard, right? It's not that hard. We've done this before. People are like, oh, there is no hope. They're always going to be in control. They haven't even been in control for like 60 years. It's not that hard. we don't have to develop something new. We go back to ways of old. The people in our communities are the ones creating our food. Then we are in our communities and we're the ones buying our food. But Melanie, we have a bunch of middlemen in our country. We call them corporations. All those middlemen do is connect people that want to buy food with people that sell food. That's it. They don't do anything that adds value. There is a farmer that is doing the hard work, that has the skills, that has the knowledge. The farmer grows the food. We're a group of people that want to buy food because we need that shit to live. But corporations figured out that they could make profit after profit after profit if they were middlemen between us and the things we need to live. So they go ahead and they purchased all of our food. Bernadette will be posting the picture soon. I've got the how-to guide right here on how to start this. So I will put that up on Instagram soon so that you can make a local impact by starting a small business. We're starting with local food distributors. And so what it is that they control the economy, but they don't actually add any value. So I don't know why you're so afraid, Lloyd. They don't do any of the actual farming. They don't provide any of the actual health care. You think they're the ones building the buildings? They're the pricks that are sitting in the trucks. I say the people that are building the goddamn house, they're the ones that are actually doing the work. Absolutely, transhumanists, that's what this is. But in order to get the New Deal regulations, we need to have leverage. Leverage, not Marion, not folks doing it their own. You connect with people in your community that are already doing it, not independence, interdependence. Don't depend on yourself, depend on the people in your community, because the people in your community want to see your community thrive. Why? Because they're a part of the community. But the food rescue is not it. Meals on a Mission, you can make a small amount of money. It's not unethical if you're providing value to your community, if you are there for people, if you know all your customers' names, if you text them back right away, and if you are connecting them with a local food producer in your area, they would probably be happy to pay comparable prices to the grocery store, but 50 cents goes to you for putting all the work together. And yeah, with 20 people, 50 cents each, you got 10 bucks, right? Well, then maybe you get 30 people, maybe you get 40 people, maybe you get 50 people, right? That's what this is. We are having it happening in Maryland right now. We have 6 different people, each looking for groups of 10 people. So we're hoping to get 50 or 60 people all committed to buying eggs. Then we will be reaching out to the farmers, just like the step-by-step at the bottom shows, on then to reach out to them. I've already spoken to a couple farmers in the area, and they will be able here to offer lower prices. And so here's what it is. There will be people that don't understand this, that don't see the positive. But what this really is you can still do it, Meals on a Mission. I will be there with you every step of the way. Is that most people want this. But if we saw Lloyd earlier, who just kept pushing back and kept pushing back, what that is they're defending what they know. We don't stay with this system because we love it. We don't stay with this system because it works so well for us. We stay with this system because we have no other alternative. And then as soon as you start talking about an alternative, somebody just tells you all of the reasons why it will never work. Whoa, we're just starting with eggs. It's not going to be a big deal. And you just try it. You just try it. Because guess what? This is already how food gets distributed. It's just the grocery stores doing it, and the grocery stores don't care about you. So what this is this is a group of people. You're forming a food buying group, before you reach out. Kedvi, let me get you the link before you reach out to the farmers, because that's what gets us power, is having 50 people committed to buy eggs, having 500 eggs a week. Basically, you're getting an order slip. And the bigger you can get that order slip, the bigger you can make your purchase. And the bigger you make your purchase, the less you get the product for. So Meals on a Mission, you should try to get 20 people that want to buy eggs once a week locally. Maybe they can't buy eggs, maybe with what you're doing, but you need to find 20 people that want to buy eggs once a week locally. Start with people that you already know. And all you say is like, hey, and you don't like start with this weird, like crazy political thing. All it is, well, Gene, it's not just advice. There are people all across the country already starting this. We have a step-by-step guide. We have a community where all the people that are already doing this are coming together to share strategies, share tactics, figure out what works. So what you do is you get 20 people together, and you don't say, we're dropping out of the system. Let's drop out of the system. You say, hey, corporations don't care about us. They really don't. In fact, corporations are incentivized to not care about us. But those same damn corporations control our food, and they raise the price on a whim, right? They raise the price on a whim. It's not charging for food. You are simply pretty much the coordinator between the farmer and the buyers, right? It's not on the page yet, Scott, but I will put it up. So you're simply coordinating. So you are charging a 50-cent fee, not for the food, but to connect people, to coordinate them. Just a surcharge fee to make sure, you're a coordination fee. So you're not charging for the food. You're just charging a coordination fee. And you're telling them it's like cost plus food. You know how Cuban's doing so great with cost plus drugs? This is just cost plus food, because people see cost plus drugs and they're like, oh shit, I know I'm not getting gouged. Well, I know, but you said that you're not making money off it. So I'm saying that this is how you make money off of it, where you get 20 people together, 30 people together. As soon as they committed to buying eggs once a week, then you call up the farmer. Hey, I know you're used to donating me eggs, but I'm actually transitioning. I'm going to be a local food distributor as well. What about if you could sell me 200 eggs a week? How much could you sell them to me for? Shit, they might be like, I'll sell it to you for the same price I sell it to the corporations. I sell it to them for $3. $3 a dozen. Holy cow. You can charge 50 cents extra, 50-cent coordination fee. Tell people, hey, I got eggs for $3.50. I buy the eggs for $3. I tack on a 50-cent coordination fee for running this group. So if you're ready to buy eggs, we got them for $3.50. You order on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The ordering closes on Wednesday, and they pick it up on Friday. That's fine. And so this is the way, but that will never change the world. You will help a lot of people. That mutual aid will be great, but it won't start the small business revolution. It will not displace corporations at their perch of power in our society. This could replace the corporations, because we'll never get 50 million people to agree, ever. They will not all say, oh, yes, let's leave this system together. What a great idea. Let's get out of this system. Never. Because systems don't collapse because people just decide to lead it. People don't change their minds from moral arguments. People change their minds when something better comes along. Luke, I envision this where if we can get enough people to start these and show others that we can take back control of the things that we need. I see people purchasing their own eggs or their own chickens, Not because they want eggs, because they want to sell it to groups like these. Because they're like, oh shit, all I need is a couple chickens. I can get 50 eggs a week and I can sell 40 of them and I can make money every single week. Oh, and then if I do a vegetable garden, I can have my own, and then I can also sell some of the vegetables to this group as well too. So not only am I giving local food and local products out to my community members, I'm making money while I do it as well. I'm providing a service that people really want. What's up, Still Mountain? Well, and that's where we are forming food buying groups, my friend. That's going to be one of our first steps right here, because when you've got two people with different politics, you're not always going to get them to see the same thing by arguing and convincing, right? But if you got two people with different politics and you tell them, hey, corporations don't care about you and corporations control all of our food. We're getting groups of local people together that want to buy their eggs from a farmer. Would you be down for that if I put it together? Well, this is what I honestly see at Still Mountain. I would rather have it than one of those big corporate farmers. I'd like to buy this from 10 homesteaders. I'd like to get 10 homesteaders where we can get 100 eggs a week from each of those homesteaders. And then we got 1,000 eggs a week that we're buying. And what this does is it shows people we don't need corporations for our food. All corporations are our mother effing middle men. We are the ones that do the work to make the food. No, I'm an MD, Renee, Maryland. We are the ones that do the work to make the food. We are the ones that buy the food. There are goddamn corporations in between that exist only to screw us over and exploit us. So there's your business idea. Our society does need something in the middle. The homesteaders want a homestead. We don't want to be calling 50 homesteaders just to look for 1 dozen eggs. So there should be somebody in between that connects the 10 farmers that all need to be coordinated with the 50 customers that all need to be coordinated. And if you're doing that work of local food distributor and you're doing the coordination, you can tack on a small coordination fee. You're not going to get rich, but you can make some extra money. We've all got side hustles anyways. You can make extra money. You can serve your community. And you can provide a product that people freaking want. My God. Right? My God. Well, that's where it starts with one person, Luke. If you can drive 30 minutes, really what you're doing is you're meeting the farmer at the local spot. You're not really going to like pick up the food from the farmer. It's like, hey, farmer, I'm the coordinator. I have 75 people that want to show up on Friday to buy eggs. You going to show up on Friday with 75 dozen eggs? And we want it every single week. Because damn, if you're a small business owner, what do you want more than anything? Repeatable, consistent business that you don't have to fight for to keep on track every single week. And that's the value that you're bringing. So you're bringing value to the farmer. You're bringing value to the community. So we wouldn't have to do this unless the freaking corporations took over every part of our economy. They completely, there you go, Still Mountain, love it. They completely overtook our economy. And here's what it is. Hambone, I don't care that you have questions. I don't. Because your questions are coming from a place of good faith. You're trying to poke holes in it, get us in there. But what it is that eggs come in a box of 12. You look at them, and that maintains your standards. They don't need to be refrigerated. And this is what it is. This is what the corporations want you to think, is that you have to have all of this crazy stuff, right? But no. Well, Still Mountain, that person's not here in good faith. They always come in like that. But that's what it is, Still Mountain, right? I would love to FI that. Where it's like, hey, we got this. They got honey. They got wood, whatever it may be. Because what this is it's showing people that all corporations really do is connect the people that create the things with the people that need the things. We can do that ourselves, especially with the internet. It's just that most of us have grown up in this system where we're so used to just getting it from corporations because it's convenient. But now that that system doesn't work for the majority of us anymore, we're finding something new. And it's not a farmer's job to feed the whole country. Still Mountain, you know this. It's a farmer's job to feed your neighbors. That's it. Because one of my favorite quotes ever was a soil health documentary. And they go, but sir, how are you going to feed the country? How are you going to feed the world with these sustainable practices? And the farmer goes, I don't think I'm supposed to feed the country. I think I'm just supposed to feed my neighbors. There you go. And so what this is it's actually better for the farmers too. Because just imagine for a second, I know it's difficult, but take 2 steps down the logic path, Tom, and ask, what do grocery stores get their products for? Well, they get their products for less than what they sell it. It's this crazy business idea. But then because a corporation needs a trucker to go pick it up, and that trucker takes it to the distribution center, that distribution center takes it to the grocery store, there's your markup along the way. We're selling eggs for 50 cents more, for a quarter more than what the farmer sold it to us for. The grocery store, they're marking that up 50, 60, 80%. So those $3 eggs are costing you $5.50. Meanwhile, we'll sell them to you for $5, right? And this isn't about getting rich. It's about making a couple dollars a week, 20, 30, $50. And it's about providing a service to the people in your community. And what people don't understand is that there we go. So that's where, y'all, if we built a car, Tom Tiger and Hambone Mike would still be standing up for horses, right? Not because they're stupid, because those horses are all they've ever known. So this is why we don't have arguments with people like Tom Tiger and Hambone Mike, because there's a reason. They can't see it. And you're never going to convince them. Ever, 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 ever. So don't get down on yourself. If you have built a freaking car and there are people that are dumb enough to still jump on the horse, well, I shouldn't even said they're dumb enough, because it's not stupidity. It's just that's all that they know. That's all. That's what they grew up with. That's what their parents have. That's what they've got sitting at home right now. It's always been there for them. So they defend it. They push back against it, even though a car is clearly superior in many, many ways. And that's what's so funny is they don't admit, yeah, corporations screw us over every chance they get. They tell us food is healthy, and it's not. It's made with palm oil. They tell us they'll take care of us, and they deny our health care coverage. And they don't give us that life-saving treatment that we need. They don't look at any of that because they have not gotten here through a place of logic. They don't want to actually see any of the issues. They want to defend the status quo. So we can't let that get us down. That's all I'm saying with that. We can't let it get us down. Only 30% of people want our country to be this way, right? Only 30% of people in our country want our society to be this way. It's just those 30% of people, they've got a billionaire's thumb on the scale, right? They've got a billionaire's thumb on the scale. So 70% of us want to see this change, right? Because kaboom, you have to walk people to that. So the biggest issue is keeping people listening. Because if you say something that they deem as too out there, too crazy, too radical, then yeah. But I mean, what society should understand is that money shouldn't be the point of life. So that's what I hope that we're walking people towards, that having people define their value in this world based off of money and how much they make is really silly. Because I think what you're getting at, kaboom, is the fact that the majority of people live their life based on money. When if we can get that mindset to change and go, no, all humans have intrinsic value. Because we need to provide people with what they need to live in order for them to live up to their fullest intrinsic value. So many people that are as smart as Einstein have died in a factory simply because they were born to the factory employee. And if that same person had been born to the factory owner, they would be the next Einstein. Why is it that all throughout history, the smartest people were people that did not have to work, that came from rich families, and they could sit on their ass and educate themselves and think all day about things that didn't affect their day-to-day life? Why? Because all of their needs were taken care of. When people's needs are taken care of, they are more productive, not less. It's such an annoying lie when people say, no, life has to be hard. Unless you make life hard, everybody's going to be lazy. I had to go through all this, so therefore, I'm definitely going to make sure the next generation has to go this. Damn, Bunny, I am sorry to hear. But that's where we can fix this. We can take back their control. Right now, corporations can treat us like that because we have no leverage. We think that politicians are in charge. God damn, they are not. They haven't been for a couple decades. The corporations are in charge. That's why protesting doesn't do anything, because protesting is supposed to get the politicians to listen to us. But when the politicians' campaign has been financed by corporations, politicians don't care about us. They care about the people that pay their salary, right? They care about the people that pay their salary. And that's the corporations. If you want to fix this, if you want to be a part of this, join the Discord. We have people all over the country that are starting these local small businesses, that are understanding that we can beat corporations in small businesses just by caring. That's it. Corporations already are local food distributors. They are just local food distributors that actively hate their customers. Your business model, your idea will be a local business distributor that actively loves their customers. And I guarantee you, right? So kaboom, you are correct. It's just the framing that you are coming at it with will turn most people off. The way I like to say it is what I just said. If you provide people with the things they need to live, they'll be more productive, not less. So yeah, people shouldn't have to be charged for food or housing or healthcare. But if you say those, 3 words, universal basic income, you're going to lose 90% of people. James Tallarico said it perfectly. I believe in teaching a man to fish, not giving him those fish to eat. But if when you take him out on that boat or out on that riverbank and you try to teach him to fish and his stomach is empty, well, they're not going to learn how to fish. If when you go teach that person to fish and they haven't slept in a house in the past week, they're not going to learn how to fish. So people need the things that are vital to life food and housing and healthcare if they're ever going to be successful. Bunny, I appreciate that. I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to sound like I was selling you anything. But this is what's crazy. If you can text 20 people, you can do this. It really isn't rocket science. You tell a bunch of people, right? Corporations don't care about us. And here's what it is. I got to hit on this. So Uncle Dragon Lord said the first people who learned to fish were starving. That's basically saying, I got it bad, so why should I give a shit if this generation has it bad too? That's the wrong way to live life, Uncle Dragon Lord. I hate to tell you, that's not the right way to live life. You're confusing the rules of the game. But you should want to make it better for the next people. That's all. Because I think you're probably smart enough to realize that if you're learning to do something on an empty stomach, you're not going to do as well as if you learn to do something on a full stomach. So if society needs people to learn to do something well, we want them to be at their fullest capacity. We don't want them not at their fullest capacity for the simple reason that other people had to go through something tough. So now this generation has to go through something tough. I don't know about you, but I've got kids, and yeah, I want them to work. I want them to bust their ass and recognize that they are nothing more than a part of a team that we call humanity. But I also don't want them to work 40 hours a week and have to think about whether they're going to buy food or go to the doctor that month. Duh. Right? And that's what we're building, is we're building the actual path forward. Because so many times people get angry and we do the thing that helps get rid of our anger. We go protest. We just do something. We don't necessarily do what is right. We don't do what is most efficient. We don't do what will achieve our end goal. We just go start doing something. Because I view it almost like as we're building a highway together. We're building a highway. We got a long way to go. The highway of progress. But it's almost like when things happen, we don't sit around and coordinate and go, all right, we had an issue. Let's double check the plans for the highway, make sure where we're going, and build backwards. It's almost like everybody goes, oh, we have to go build this highway. Let's go. And we all go and we start pouring our concrete, but nobody's talking about where we're actually going to, right? And here's what's so funny. Here's how you can tell if somebody is not on your side. So I'm going to mute Uncle Dragon for a minute here because they are just not getting it. So Uncle Dragon said, people need to be more self-sufficient. Stops expecting others. This is a person that drives in a car that they did not build, who's wearing clothes that they did not make, who eats food that they did not grow, who lives, everything that person does was created by somebody else. Yet their words were, people need to be more self-sufficient. Isn't that funny? Coming from the person that does not grow their own food, that does not make their own medicine, that does not build the house that they're living in, that does not build the car that they drive in every day, that their job that they are at depends on another. I know I made sure to just mute him and not get rid of him so we could hear this, because it's so funny. And it's these manly men too, right? My dad did construction for 40 years, big burly dude, big mustache, always has a vest on. And he's like, oh, self-sufficiency, self-sufficiency. It's like, Dad, you go to the grocery store, you go get your beer, you don't do anything on your own. It's like so funny. Thanks, Still Mountain. It's just so funny. That's one of the things that's been getting me recently, though, because I feel like I finally got a good comeback to the, well, be self-sufficient. You don't do anything on your own. You're right, Bunny. What it is, actually, it's a little bit farther than that, Kumquat, is I believe that the people in charge, the 1% of corporations, or the 1% of people, they recognize that cooperation is the way forward for the majority of people. So what they do is they stick competition into our heads. From the moment we are born, it's survival of the fittest, law of the jungle. Things aren't given to you, you earn them. So they take a large portion of our society, and they take this society, which is so obviously interdependent, which is so obviously depending on other people, and we make people think that they did it themselves. But that's what's so crazy about this grocery store idea. It's showing you that no, you didn't do it yourself. There's literally somebody in between you and the farmer coordinating all of the food, making sure everything runs smoothly. It's just right now that middleman in between, that corporation, they're incentivized to screw you over. Whereas if you were a local food distributor, if you were making money off of your neighbors and your friends and your customers, god damn, you'd be accountable to them. You'd say, text me anytime. I'm available 24/7. Because you want to add value to what you're bringing. You don't want to exploit. You don't want to be like the freaking grocery store. Because what people actually want is local eggs from a farmer without the hassle. And you are providing that. And you're showing them the fee that you charge. It's not like you're doing anything besides, hey, here's 25 cents, here's 50 cents tacked on to. I know, Still Mountain, it always is funny to me when we're literally talking about a small business revolution. We should have 1 million small businesses across the country, because this is what it is. You're never going to get 50 million people to agree based on an argument. You know how you get 50 million people to agree? You start 1 million small businesses, and those 1 million small businesses no, it's not. And 1 million small businesses. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I think, Kaboom, is that we start this with the co-op model. So you say, all right, I'm going to get 20 or 40 or 50 people together, as many as I can get. Well, once you get up to 100 people, it gets hard to manage, right? Well, what you should do is you should say, all right, if I have a buddy that wants to find 50 people and I find 50 people, then let's just start a co-op. We'll have 100 people buying a dozen eggs a week. Shit, now you're at 1,000 eggs a week. I bet you start getting some discounts at 1,000 eggs a week. Then you start connecting with your customers and you set it all up. That's what it really is. Oh, Kumquat, I'm sorry. I laughed at it because I wasn't sure, but communism is not when people create small businesses. And that's where Still Mountain, the number one thing is, I think they should be co-ops or nonprofits. We need to change it so that the incentive doesn't lie in the profit. We need to change it so the incentive lies in providing for the community, in being there for them. Yes, they're not owners, they're stewards. That's what changed, Still Mountain. That's what changed. Corporations were always supposed to be stewards and only stewards. But over time, they use their marketing and they use their power and they use their money to become owners. You don't own our food. We're the ones that grow it on our land. We're the ones that buy it. All you do is connect us to the people that grow it. You don't get to own our healthcare, right? You don't own our doctors. You don't own us being healthy. You simply connect us to the people in our community that have the knowledge and the skills to keep us healthy. So you are stewards at best, and we will kick you the F out. So this is about showing people. We're not going to change the whole system right away. It's showing people that it can be better, that the system can work for us, not against us. So we've got an entire step-by-step guide on how to fix this. We've got a whole community So, but you can't reduce the tax burden because that comes from the politicians. Politicians are in charge. Politicians listen to corporations. The corporations are the ones that wanted the small businesses to have a high tax burden. So this is literally the way that we reverse that, because you can't just go to the politicians and say, hey, please fix this, because politicians don't listen to you. They don't care about you. They care about the people that finance their campaign. That's corporations. That's the very same people that want taxes high on small businesses. But that's where this is a small business with zero overhead, zero cost, zero anything. You are doing exactly what corporations do. You connect people that want to buy things with the people that are making those things, right? Nobody will do it then. What's the motivation? There has to be a little bit. Plus, if you're already getting it for cheaper, right? No problem, Still Mountain. Always good having you here. I got to get going too. But that's where when you run it Kaboom, you don't have to charge. Like, start your own, make it free. But then once you're doing it for 8 hours a week and you've got 200 people and you're spending so much time on it, I think you'd be like, all right, maybe if these 200 people, all right, I'm going to see if these 200 people will pay me a quarter each. And then I get $50 a week for doing this. That's all that we're saying. So yeah, get rid of the small profit. Say when we have 200 buyers, there's going to be a 25-cent coordination fee. And if you never want to add it, you don't have to. This isn't my thing. This is your thing. Go out and do it. We make it easy. We've got a team. We've got a community. Yeah, I've got 6 locations, 35 employees. Okay, but it doesn't have to be free. Absolutely not. You will lose the majority of Americans if you say, do work for nothing. Do work. Provide to your community for a small bit. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Bye, y'all.